Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Warner here, Overtime Athletes with Coach Troy Leaf. Troy, appreciate you helping us out.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do today was shoot a couple videos or add some value to these guys about breaking down what you look for when you're coaching shooting. So one of the questions that we've gotten behind the scenes is basically some of the stuff that you do, that you look at as far as footwork when it comes to shooting. You help us out with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's a few things as far as shooting. You can break it down into a few different aspects of it, but what we're gonna focus on with this first one is just your footwork. So footwork has to be consistent and footwork has to be good if you wanna be a consistent shooter. So the first thing that we look for when you're talking about shooting is making sure that your feet are somewhat shoulder width apart. Now some guys might be a little bit more than shoulder width, or some guys might be right at shoulder width. Either way is fine, as long as you're consistent with that part of your footwork where it's just about shoulder width apart, and that can come into play kind of anywhere. You might be jabbing where you're a little bit wider, but you're not really shooting off that jab when your feet are straight wide. So even if you're jabbing, bringing it right back to that shoulder width apart to where you can pop up, or coming off of a down screen when you're coming off catching and turning, your feet are always going to be shoulder width apart. So being shoulder width or a little bit more than shoulder width apart when you're shooting is the first tip that I would say for footwork. The next tip for footwork is always leading with your strong foot. So if I'm a right-handed player, with my footwork, I always want to make sure my right foot is just a little bit farther in front of my left foot. You never want to shoot with both feet the same spot as far as how far forward they are. If you're shooting with it like that, you're going to lose a lot of power, and you're going to lose a lot of ability to shoot off the move and all that. You want to make sure that that foot is, if your feet were together, it would be about your left toe would be in the middle of your right foot there. So you'd want it about like that every time you're shooting. And again, that comes into play when you're on the move. It comes into play when you're coming off a down screen. The hardest part for that is for a right-handed player, when I'm coming off of a down screen and I'm turning over my left shoulder, is it's really easy then to stop it early like this and shoot it with your feet kind of funky like that. You're gonna lose a lot of power like that. Making sure even when you're coming off a down screen, turning over the left side, you get that foot all the way around. So this is how you always wanna take off. You can watch all of the best players in the NBA, all the guys that I work with, that's always something that they just do. I don't have to explain to them how to do it. The guys that are really, really good at making shots, no matter what kind of footwork you're coming down to, it always ends up with your lead foot just in front of your off foot. So that would be the second one that I would say for footwork. And then the last one for footwork is always making sure that when you shoot, your feet are at the rim. So there may be some times where your feet aren't exactly at the rim, but no matter what you're doing, correct, both toes pointed at the rim, because your body's gonna follow where your feet point. If I'm pointing to if the rim is right here and I'm pointing like that, my shoulders are automatically gonna follow my feet. So if I'm facing like this, it means my shoulders are probably gonna be more facing this way, which you lose a lot of power and lose a lot of consistency in your jump shot. So whatever you're doing, coming off a down screen, making sure your feet get turned where you're straight at the rim. Either way, you wanna make sure, so if I'm a right-handed player and I'm coming this way, actually for either player, if I'm coming this way and the hoop is over here, you want to stick that leg in the ground before you're going up to your shot. Point that foot at the rim because your body's going to follow. If I start like this and I go to turn around, it's going to be harder for me to get turned all the way. If I'm coming off this screen or whatever I'm coming off and I'm trying to shoot at that rim, you got to get that first foot pointed all the way at the rim so that then your body's gonna follow, and then everything else that we already talked about is there. You're about shoulder width apart, your right foot's just a little bit in front of your left, and you're ready to explode into your shot. So those are the things I think with footwork that you can work on whether you're a beginner or whether you're as advanced as they come. So all the guys that I work with, from high school to pro guys, it's all about that same footwork stuff. Now, if you're just starting, it might be literally doing it slow motion, starting to practice in your bedroom or whatever hoop you have. And then as you get more and more advanced, being able to do complex series or complex motions and ending with your footwork the same each time.
Gotcha. That's what I was going to ask. I mean, the things that you pointed out, obviously to some seem like common sense, but that's actually the biggest mistake you see in shooting is most guys are off balance, or they take low percentage shots. They don't alpha move. They don't actually adhere to those basics, those fundamentals.
Correct.
That's why a lot of guys preach the fundamentals.
For instance, some of these guys who are starting to get at a higher level, you might be doing, you know, a step back or a crossover into your jump shot, but then a lot of times it ends kind of lazy, and you might be pointed like this, just a little bit off of the rim, where it's still going to lower your percentage.
Gotcha.
So even if you're the elite of the elite, if your feet aren't pointed at the rim and your footwork's not right, your percentage is still going to be lower.
Gotcha.
So I'm a big believer in shooting high percentage shots and trying to make every shot that you get to off every moves as high percentage as they can be by getting your feet right.
Gotcha, perfect. There you guys have it. If you guys are interested in a 15-minute workout designed exactly by Troy Leaf, go ahead and check out the link down below. Talk to you guys next time.